Have you ever wondered what kind of stories lie behind the iconic facade of New York's Dakota building, one of the city's most exclusive, mysterious, and historically rich addresses? Today, let's set foot inside one of its most famous residences, Lauren Bacall's beloved apartment. The legendary screen siren once called this place home for over 5 decades, and within these walls, she lived a life as remarkable as her Hollywood career. Standing across from Central Park at 72nd Street, you might first notice the Dakota's distinctive silhouette, a majestic blend of Gothic and Renaissance elements. Built in the late 19th century, it's cloaked in warm-hued brick and sandstone, with sharply peaked roofs and intricate gables. Looking up, you can't help but feel a sense of awe. This building, completed in 1884, has been at the heart of New York cultural history for well over a century. Renowned residents have come and gone, from John Lennon and Yoko Ono to countless luminaries of stage and screen. Yet few made it their home as steadfastly as Lauren Bacall. Imagine you've just stepped out of a taxi on a brisk day, crossing the cobblestone courtyard to be greeted by one of the Dakota's uniformed doormen. He ushers you past the heavy, ornately carved doors and into the lobby. The moment you enter, a hush settles, as if you've stepped back in time. The mosaic floors, gilded fixtures, and burnished wood paneling all exude a sense of old-world elegance. You can almost picture Ms. Bacall herself breezing through with a warm smile, perhaps on her way to a film premiere or returning from a rehearsal. A quick ride in a vintage-style elevator brings you to her apartment's entrance. Through the front door, you find yourself in a spacious foyer lit by an antique chandelier, a piece that Lauren Bacall reputedly chose for its soft glow. Her taste favored comfort and understated luxury, a reflection of her grounded personality. She was never ostentatious, elegant, yes, but always with a certain warmth that made visitors feel welcomed right away. The foyer opens into a grand yet inviting living room, an airy space with tall windows overlooking the lush greenery of Central Park. The building's courtyard might be historic, but the real show is out those front-facing windows. The city's most iconic park unfolds before your eyes, a patch of nature in an endless sea of skyscrapers. Inside, you notice that the decor is both eclectic and personal. Persian rugs add color to the dark parquet floors, which still bear the original inlaid pattern from the 19th century. Plush sofas and armchairs, some in soft velvet, others in worn leather, are arranged in clusters for easy conversation. There's a subtle hint of Ms. Bacall's time in Hollywood, perhaps a few black and white photographs from movie sets, or a rare poster from The Big Sleep in a slender gold frame. She was proud of her work, but displayed these items tastefully, as though they were cherished memories rather than trophies of fame. Off to one side, you spot a quiet reading nook bathed in gentle lamplight, a small alcove lined with bookshelves. If you peer closely, you might find an interesting mix of titles: the works of classic American novelists, play scripts from Bacall's stage projects, and maybe a handful of coffee table art books. A comfortable armchair draped with a patterned throw sits by the window. You can almost picture Ms. Bacall sitting there, deep in a riveting book, occasionally gazing out toward Central Park to watch the changing seasons. She often said she loved having that constant connection with the city, familiar yet always transforming before her eyes. Moving further inside, the dining room reveals itself as another gem. High ceilings, ornate moldings, and a vintage chandelier bestow a certain air of formality, but the table is often set in a relaxed, intimate style. Ms. Bacall enjoyed hosting dinner parties for friends, fellow actors, and the many remarkable personalities she met throughout her career. Some nights it would be an elegant affair with full silver settings and candlelight reflecting off crystal glassware. On other occasions, she'd keep it simple, a comforting meal amid good conversation, the sort of gathering that made the Dakota feel more like a close-knit community than a luxury co-op. Neighbors recall hearing bursts of laughter drifting into the hallway, providing a glimpse into those friendly nights of chatter and camaraderie. The kitchen, large by Manhattan standards, holds a practical charm. Ms. Bacall liked it efficient and welcoming, with vintage touches that recall a gentler era. Perhaps a farmhouse sink, sturdy wooden countertops, and copper pots hanging neatly overhead. She wasn't a gourmet chef by profession, of course, but it was here that she'd prepare her morning coffee or share a late-night snack with her children and grandchildren when they visited. Even in the kitchen, memories of her old Hollywood days weren't far. A vintage film poster or two might peek out from a corner, bringing a dash of cinematic magic to the everyday routine of home life. Down the hallway, its walls adorned with tasteful, subdued wallpaper and family photographs, you reach the private quarters. The master bedroom is bright and cozy, featuring tall windows that frame Central Park's treetops. Soft, neutral tones cover the bedding, with a few well-chosen accent pillows that nod to Ms. Bacall's sophisticated taste. A chaise lounge in the corner invites afternoon naps or quiet reflection. Over the headboard, you might notice an abstract painting, an unexpected departure from classic decor, but it whispers of her willingness to blend modern style with old-world charm. Friends used to say that she loved dabbling in interior design and took pleasure in mixing periods and aesthetics. In the adjacent dressing room, you come face to face with a testament to her glamorous life. Mirrors line the walls, while built-in closets hold a lifetime of fashion treasures. Elegant gowns from premieres, timeless pieces she wore on stage, and of course, her signature crisp blouses and tailored trousers. Here she could prepare for a night at the theater or simply reminisce about the times she graced the red carpet. A faint trace of her favorite perfume seems to linger, evoking the final touches before she'd step out into the world, camera flashes awaiting her iconic face. At the end of that private hallway, 2 or 3 extra bedrooms offer a comfortable stay for family and close friends. Though their decor might be simpler, each room holds a story. A painting gifted by a director friend, a dresser that once belonged to her late husband Humphrey Bogart, or pictures of her children that remind you this was as much a family home as it was the residence of a film star. In her decades at the Dakota, Ms. Bacall experienced everyday life events, a place to laugh, mourn, celebrate holidays, and simply carry on in a routine that anchored her to a city she deeply loved. Looking out any one of the apartment's windows, the views of Central Park open like a living painting. Autumn leaves turning gold, the hush of winter snow, spring blossoms bringing life back to the city. You can understand why Ms. Bacall cherished this vantage point. Despite her Hollywood fame, she was a New Yorker at heart, and the Dakota represented everything she adored about Manhattan, its rich tapestry of history, its cultural vibrancy, and its sense of belonging. During her later years, Ms. Bacall was sometimes spotted by neighbors or doormen in the hallways, exchanging warm smiles and a few words. She might carry her grocery bags or hail a taxi just like anyone else in the city. That was the contradiction of her life. Global star, yet approachable neighbor, glamorous icon who still valued a strong sense of community. The Dakota fostered that duality. Even though it's famously private, for those lucky enough to reside there, it cultivates an almost village-like bond in the middle of one of the world's busiest cities. As with many storied apartments, Bacall's place was eventually sold following her passing in 2014. Rumors floated about the sale price being somewhere around $21 million, a reflection not only of the apartment's rare details and prime location, but of its connection to a beloved Hollywood legend. Today, the Dakota remains a beacon of old New York luxury, with Ms. Bacall's memory woven into its corridors. In the swirl of the city's constant change, her presence still feels very much alive whenever the conversation turns to the building's remarkable roster of residents. So, what do you think? Does Lauren Bacall's Dakota apartment match your idea of how a Hollywood star would live in the heart of Manhattan? Iconic yet distinctly personal, grand but full of cozy corners? Or has this little peek behind those 19th century walls revealed something different from what you'd expect? I'd love to hear your impressions of this enduring space, which gracefully blended the mystique of cinema with the everyday rhythms of New York living. If you've enjoyed stepping into Lauren Bacall's world and learning a bit about the Dakota's unique history, feel free to share your thoughts below and let me know which detail surprised you the most. And if you'd like to keep traveling through time and exploring more storied homes of the rich and famous, I'd be delighted if you'd subscribe and join me on future adventures. Until then, may your own home be filled with warm lights, cherished keepsakes, and just enough magic to keep every day feeling a bit cinematic. I'll see you in the next video.